There is no show that I have seen rocket so quickly in popularity as much as Bluey. A preschool-aged kids show focusing on Bluey Healer, an anthropomorphic dog getting up to typical early childhood antics, oftentimes alongside her extended family and friends. What started as a show that I, a 22-year-old, probably rightfully knew nothing about, quickly skyrocketed into a show in which I heard nothing but praise for from my peers. So like any good YouTube essayist, I watched it. And well, I get it. Bluey is a fantastic piece of television, one that I might even go so far as to say that I have fallen in love with. I even hooked my mother and my sister on it. But why? Why do I love Bluey so much? Why is it so popular all of a sudden? And what has it done to gain such a remarkably high adult audience? Well, it boils down to 3 different reasons. Number 1, it's not a Teachy show. I think a lot of people hear that you've watched a show where the primary audience is for preschoolers and their minds immediately jump to something like Dora the Explorer, Blue's Clues, something in that vein. But Bluey is not what I have dubbed a Teachy show, for lack of a better term. There's no math, shapes, colors. It's not reliant on the audience to solve problems or founded in the concept of trying to teach its audience about anything truly concrete. It feels more like a standard family sitcom than it does a quote-unquote children's show, if that makes any sense. It's less inclined to outright teach its audience anything, and instead leans more into the idea of creating teachable moments for children to learn from, which sounds similar to a Teachy show, but trust me, in the realm of young children's entertainment, these are wildly different concepts. In fact, the difference here leans greatly into number 2, it's a show for kids that respects the kids. We live in an age where children's media, for lack of a more descriptive term, is not great. Where most children's content is a rabbit hole full of garbage masquerading as colorful characters, and YouTube Kids has content farms running rampant, Bluey has an undying respect for its audience. It's weirdly satisfying seeing how real children act and play reflected in a piece of media. This ain't no backyardigans shit. We ain't imagining a vast world only for the real life kids watching me to be disappointed that my imagination isn't that good. In Bluey, we got realistic forms of childhood play. The most unrealistic thing about all of these episodes is that it's dogs performing the actions. Everything else here seems well in the realm of possibility. And with realistic depictions of imaginative play, also opens up realistic depictions of children's actions in imaginative play. There's a lot of episodes reflecting specific but important lessons for children of that age to learn. What to do when dealing with another kid who just can't seem to be agreeable, why sometimes rigid rule sets can make games more fun, why you can't just own all the toys you could ever possibly want. It creates an environment where even if you as an adult are not entertained by these plot lines happening in Bluey, you could probably see its value to have lessons like this taught to children in the modern day. And the thing I saved for last, the most important piece of Bluey and its cultivation of an adult audience, these lessons are just as often given to the show's cast of adults as they are given to its cast of children. Number 3, Bluey's subject matter is made almost as much for the parents in the room as it is for the children. Now, the idea of a well-animated kids cartoon with jokes being peppered in for the adults who just so happen to also be watching is not a new phenomenon. Hell, we even had kids shows tackling more adult topics all the way back in the 90s. But Bluey is different because it's not just the odd joke or two that's made for adults. Sometimes it feels like whole episodes are made with an adult audience in mind. For instance, there's an episode about first-time motherhood and the want/eventual emotional spiral that comes from being competitive about it. An episode about the struggles of making new friends as an adult. An episode about their mom being burnt out and wanting alone time in an ever-busy household. And while I'm not a child and thus cannot say how successful they are, it feels like they do a pretty good job at translating some of these more relatable to adult topics to be digestible for the kids who just so happen to be also watching. Alongside these more adult plot lines, there's an unyielding sense of emotional maturity throughout every episode. Between every conversation, every misunderstanding, every imaginative play set piece, they're always asking the right questions, the questions that provide context and understanding. It displays that raw, familial love and endless strive for a better understanding of the people around them in a way that is infectious to watch. Parents love it because it's a reflection of their current or past lives. Children love it because, well, it's fun, colorful, funny, well animated, and also a reflection of parts of their lives. And that whole realm between these two love it because it's one of the most positive displays of that family relationship I have seen in media in quite some time. Also, each episode is 9 minutes long, including credits, which is 1 minute shorter than the max amount of time that can be fit into one TikTok, so it's like hilariously digestible in conjunction with all these other positives. Joe Brumm, the creator of Bluey, has gone on record saying that he never intended to be writing for children, having preferred a career in adult animation. But whether he realizes it or not, that wish to make a show for an adult audience has kind of succeeded. Whether it be because of parents who get drawn in from their children watching it, or people in their 20-somethings finding a sense of solace in the warmth of the family being portrayed, Bluey has found itself, perhaps unintentionally, a solid fan base in the age range firmly defined as not children. Brumm saw a problem in the industry, a wealth of children's media, but none of them had any heart. And there is no one on the goddamn earth who can deny that Bluey has heart.
I wanted to do something that was not conflict-driven, that involved the parents and shows the laughter and real warmth that you get as a family. To me, it's very beautiful, and I wanted to show that to the world. It was a gamble, but I thought kids and adults would respond to it.
So why do I and so many other adults love Bluey? Well, as simple as it sounds, because it's a good show. See ya.